Hello and welcome to the healing journey. This is the channel where I talk about my road from having had a complete breakdown, the 12th of October 2020, to my improvement. As I mentioned in the previous video, I do this for two reasons. A, because it's some type of spoken journaling for myself that helps me feel better. And two, because of the fact that like in the very initial stages of my breakdown, I'm talking the first, second day, I, was YouTubing and Googling around, seeing to find something like this. And I found a lot of really good stuff about people who have done a healing journey, but the start of them talking about their healing journey was always at the point where they had finished it, and I thought it would be really great and would have been really helpful to me to see find someone who recorded it from like the moment where they were feeling really, really bad to the moment where they were like feeling a lot better. And that's what I'm doing. And in case someone ever finds this, and it is useful for them in a way of helping them improve their mental well-being. Anyway, in this video, as the title suggests, I'm going to talk about body-based practices and getting into your body and how that has really helped me feel better over these past 2-3 weeks, and the logic of why I think that could help people in general feel better, especially if you're having this like breakdown episode where you are either overwhelmed with your depression or beaten down with your depression, overwhelmed by your stress, or crippled by your anxiety. Okay, so first of all, what is a body-based practice? Well, body-based practices are just practices that help you get into your body, right? So i.e. practices that don't necessarily involve that much thinking or cognition. So these are, for example, running, walking, swimming, going to the gym, lifting weights, doing yoga, doing Tai Chi, but also just perhaps doing body-based meditation where you sit and you close your eyes and you really focus on feeling each part of your body and then feeling your body as a whole. For guided examples of the last mentioned, here you can just YouTube grounding body meditation and you'll find many useful practices. Anyhow, why is it that these have really helped me and why I think they are useful in general for someone who is experiencing a really, really bad situation? It is because often when we're feeling really bad, we are all up in our head. We are just overwhelmed or consumed with negative thoughts, either about the past or negative images of the future, of things that have happened to us and of things that will come to happen to us. Now, as like a side note, I think it's like interesting how all these therapy type people and the spiritual type healers, they all tend to generally agree that learning to be in the present is the very best way to like help you feel better about your anxiety and depression and overwhelming stress in the vast majority of circumstances. Because in the present, you're very rarely suffering. You're often either suffering because you're stuck on something in the past or because you're thinking about catastrophic events that might unfold in the future. Now, I don't think this is like true in all instances, but to me it seems like it's intuitively true in most instances. And of course, so like the permanent solution to this is learning to be in the present moment, learning to live in the present, and which is like very hard and something I'm working on over these past 2 weeks by doing meditation, and that is meant to like ground you in the present. But another way to be more in the present is to get into your body and out of your head. Get out of this like panic, catastrophic thinking, or get out of the depressive reflections of past events. Because if you get into your body then that almost necessarily means that you can't either be in the past or in the future, because your body only exists in the present, right? And so that's like the logic of why it will help you, is that it will help you be in the present, and it's an easier way of being in the present and getting out of your head and getting out of catastrophic thinking about how, you know, you will feel this bad forever and I will never feel any better, and me feeling this bad will lead to me losing my job, losing my loved ones, or I will never be able to handle X, Y, and Z upcoming events, or about how I really messed it up completely in 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, 6 months ago, and I will never be able to get past that. Because you just, if you, once you properly get into your body, it's very hard to think about those things. And here I want to make one thing clear, which is that I think depending on your current ailment, your current conditions, different type of body-based practices will be useful and non-useful for you. So for example, I was having this very, like, my breakdown was largely due to the fact that my nervous system was working on complete overcharge mode. And so it had very much to do with stress and anxiety about future events. And I was always thinking, and I could like never shut off. My mind was just going really at its maximum capacity at all times. And so for me, for example, when I had this breakdown, I learned this via, firstly, I got it recommended to me by my stress therapist that I shouldn't go to the gym. And then I went to the gym and I saw that I felt a lot worse. And this was very counterintuitive to me, because previously in my life, when I was like 16, I was like super depressed and I couldn't do anything. Then going to the gym was something that really helped me. So that got me thinking about like why it is the case that I didn't benefit from going to the gym now, and why it might be the case that generally speaking, if you're having this sort of like stress or anxiety breakdown, going to the gym might not be the best thing, and at least in the initial stages. And I think that is because stress and anxiety, they are so like very much, or in many people, they're like uppers in the sense that they make you really hyperactive. They really activates that like fight mode in you. And if you have this breakdown, that is probably because you have been in that mode for a very long time, extended period of time. So your nervous system is supercharged and super hijacked by such emotions, and they have really ingrained themselves in your view of the world, and your body is now responding to everything it sees as if it's something that it has to either fight or fix, and something that is thus like worth meriting a response of stress and anxiety. So it has habituated itself to that type of response to normal stimuli. And then the gym, where you go there, or it's something that necessarily like brings you up in a that like it increases your blood pressure, it increases your adrenaline, it just puts you in that like fight mode, right? Because you're lifting heavy weights or you're pushing and you're really putting a lot of effort in and you're really straining yourself. So then I think in those cases, the gym is probably like counterproductive to you trying to get better, at least in the initial stages, because what you need to do is you need to relax and you need to calm down and you need to settle. And hence, the body-based practices that you should do in those type of, if you're in that type of situation, i.e. a situation where you're having a breakdown due to a prolonged period of being in that fight mode with so much stress and anxiety, which I assume many people are just due to the way we live our life, generally speaking, where we have this 8 to 5/6 jobs, but we also have all these like social commitments that we feel like we must attend to, and we have so much uncertainty and so much variability about future prospects, and we're also always bombarded like with information about how we should be and what we should do and what we ought to do and how we should look and how we should think and stuff like that. Then I think it's better if you do this like slow-based body practices with slow movements. So for example, what's really helped me has been taking long, slow walks where I really like focus on touching my feet down into the ground, like slowly, left, right, left, right, and do like slow, very slow yoga and very slow like Tai Chi. I think Tai Chi is like necessarily slow as far as I understand it, but does have really helped me because it brings me back into the body, A, while B, simultaneously not like stressing up my nervous system more, and C, crucially, it's like teaching me implicitly the skill which I've been lacking, which is that it's okay to go slow. Now, of course, the inverse of this is probably going to be true for people who are depressed, right? That for those people, or like for people who are just really, really sad or really melancholic or just in this state of like despondency, you know, it's probably going to be better for them to do more like high-based body activity, such as, for example, running or going on brisk walks or going to the gym, or if they can't go to the gym, actually doing some like push-ups and lunges and getting like a body work out at home, or perhaps doing more intensive yoga, because for them, of course, they also need to get into their body and get out of their head, but the way they want to get into their body in a way which is in a way which like can make them feel energetic, right? Because being depressed is in a state, as far as I recall it, like from when I was depressed, is in a state where you're completely lacking of any will, vigor, vitality, or energy. So then the way you want to get into your body is presumably in ways which like teaches you that you can actually feel those things, that you can feel like you have a will, that you can feel like you have vitality, that you can feel that you're energized, because that will like start to like rewire your brain to be more receptive to those types of like feelings, and specifically for depressed people, be more receptive to believing that they can be in that mode, that they can function in a mode of energy, which is so hard if you're depressed. So anyhow, I think to like sum up, and I'm sorry if this video, like all my videos, are a bit unstructured and messy. Like they are that way because I don't have a script, I'm just talking. And English is not my first language. But to sum up, I think there are good reasons for believing that getting into your body is like super necessary when you feel really, really bad. If for nothing else than the fact that it lets you be in the present and gets you out of your head and your bad modes of thinking, which is what is causing in the vast majority of cases, I would assume, the vast majority of a person's suffering when they're in this breakdown stage and breakdown mode. And there are different ways of doing this, and the ways that you ought to do probably depend on your current conditions, as I just explained. And I hope that this video, if someone ever sees this, is helpful for someone. And that's all for me. And I don't know, yeah, see you next time or something, I guess.